Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different from what I usually do. So if you're here looking for something academic talking about a career in archaeology, please check out my other videos. This is not going to be something like that. Today I'm going to be talking about Indiana Jones, the very famous archaeologist that we all know and love. What prompted me to make this video today is the fact that the 5th Indiana Jones film is currently just about to go into production, or has gone into production, and is due to come out in 2019. So they're writing the script, and if they need any ideas, I have one for you. The video today is essentially this idea that's been around in my head for a really long time about what the plot of the 5th Indiana Jones film could be, since many archaeologists are very unhappy with the 4th film. Indiana Jones is just something that you always talk about with other archaeologists, including the films, how much people usually hated the 4th film and how it was so terrible. And in these discussions, I eventually kind of just thought up this idea for what they could do for the 5th movie. If you're going to make fun of me for this, that's fine, I don't care. I just figured I might as well put it out there while I can. Maybe the writers will get some ideas for a better plot point than, aliens. This idea was originally inspired by these articles that have gone around kind of the archaeological community on the internet in the past couple years, which I'm going to link down below for you. The first one is a fictional rejection of an application for tenure by Indiana Jones, wherein the entire document goes into detail about the fact that he is essentially a really horrible archaeologist and not a very good university professor because he's constantly absent from his classes, he never publishes anything. Anything that he tries to publish is incredible because he can't back it up with any evidence. Fieldwork is unethical and unconventional, to say the least, and he has taken more sabbaticals and sick days than any other professor within the university, so on and so forth. There's also another interesting one where he's tried to get something published about one of the movies, and it's a rejection letter from a journal saying that they really can't publish it because his citations are essentially that all his evidence was confiscated by the government, so they need to just go on his go on his word, which academically is impossible. So obviously the new Indiana Jones movie has to take place probably somewhere, I would say, in the 1960s to account for the time that's elapsed since the last one and the first ones. So you're going to be dealing with a atmosphere of equal rights in the 60s, women getting onto campus, getting into universities. And in the light of these fictional letters on the internet, I think it would be interesting if you perhaps have Dr. Indiana Jones having something like that happening to him in the films, where the university is very unhappy with his academic performance and the fact that he keeps on going off on all these mysterious trips that he's not really allowed to talk about because of its involvement with the government and the mystical. I'm pretty sure that in the movies, if he's not already, he should be a tenured professor, because otherwise he probably wouldn't be able to get away with the amount of absences that he takes and the fact that he never publishes anything to our knowledge. So you'd think that at this point the university is getting really fed up with the way that he conducts himself, but because he's tenured, they can't force him to leave. So they're trying to do everything in their power to make his job as uncomfortable for him so that he just wants to retire. On the other side of things, you can have a female character who's going to be one of the first women doctoral students at the university, and you can have her be a bit of a quite feminist, a bit abrasive personality. She's really worked really hard to get here, but you can see that the university hasn't been super keen to admit her, and she's just really pushy for her place. So you then have a professor that nobody likes or respects or whatever, and they're trying to get rid of him. And then you have this female student that the faculty aren't very enthusiastic about and is a bit of an annoyance to them, that they're not really dedicated to making sure that she gets the best education. And so the university says to Dr. Jones, you need to take on a PhD student because you have really damaged our reputation as a university and you have no reputation as an academic, and we'll be forced, not to fire him, but to, perhaps make certain adjustments to his contract that is going to make his life a lot more unpleasant. And then because nobody else wants to take on this really pushy PhD student, they give her to him, and she's just sitting there like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that the person that's going to be like my supervisor for my PhD is this washed up archaeologist and has never published anything, and he doesn't have like a good reputation, all this stuff. And she is really annoyed about the fact that she's been put with this, you know, person that she thinks is going to not be able to supervise her in the way that she wants. And then Dr. Jones is annoyed because he has more important things to do than to supervise a PhD student. Then you'll have the typical Indiana Jones thing where, you know, someone from the government comes along and says, we have this problem or this crisis. You have some way for him to get dragged on yet another adventure with this kind of foil or straight man PhD student who's just rolling her eyes at the entire thing and refuses to believe all of his stories about the things that he's done, and is just like really not happy about being there, which I think could make for some really interesting situations. Obviously, because she's an actual archaeologist and not Indiana Jones, she doesn't know how to use a gun, she doesn't know how to use a whip. All of her knowledge comes from books and not field experience, and she's just kind of generally a bit useless for the typical adventure that you would expect Indiana Jones to go on, except for the fact that she is quite smart. And then over the course of the movie, you can have their relationship develop, but never to the point where, you know, it'd be a bit lechy if he was romantically interested in her, and technically, in theory, he'd still be married to Marion. But you could maybe make it so that they have a bit more of a father-daughter relationship. They find themselves really getting along. At some point in their quest, you could say, they'll find something that she could bring back to actually write her thesis on and be successful as an academic with, that's not going to get confiscated by the government. You know, she's decoded some language or found something. And then at the end of the movie, obviously, you could still have some of their conflicts, but you have a new team to go on for the other Indiana Jones movies that I'm sure they're probably going to make. And the passing on of, you know, his fedora hat, you know, in case they actually are going to stop making the movies with Harrison Ford because, you know, he's just getting a lot older. And that way you can also avoid the thing where, you know, he keeps on saying there's not going to be somebody else to play Indiana Jones. So therefore, this girl is not going to be the next Indiana Jones. She can be something entirely different, but it's still passing on the legacy. So there's my idea. If you liked it, that's great. If you think it's stupid, that's also fine. I just wanted to put this out there because it's been circling around in my head for a really long time. Obviously, I've spent way too much time thinking about it, but I've told it to a couple people that I know, and I just think it's an interesting twist, and it would be an interesting way to kind of do the movies, because like personally, I really didn't like his son storyline in the fourth movie, and nowadays, you know, all these films are trying to really be a lot more inclusive of stuff, and I think this would be an interesting way of doing it without forcing everything down your throat. I hope this was at least moderately entertaining for some people. I will be doing another more archaeological career, academically inclined video sometime this week because I've taken some time off work to move house, so I have tons of free time at the moment. So do expect another one coming more frequently than just the 2-week ones that I've been doing so far. Thank you for watching today, and give me a thumbs up if you liked this, and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. As per usual, if you have any questions or comments, please write them down below, and I'll see you again next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye!